Okay, so what if you could build the perfect, tireless gardener? I mean, one that works 24/7, no breaks, just to create the absolute ideal home for plants. Well, today we're going to look at a fascinating project that does pretty much exactly that. It tackles one of the biggest headaches for farmers, keeping a greenhouse at the perfect temperature, all with some smart and really accessible tech.
So, just for a second, put yourself in the shoes of a greenhouse manager. Your entire job, day in and day out, is just keeping your plants happy. And that means you're constantly checking the temperature, the humidity, the light. It's this nonstop, really delicate balancing act. And, this quote from the source material just hits the nail on the head. Doing all this by hand, it isn't just a huge drain on time and resources. It's also, well, it's unreliable. Think about it. One small mistake, one delayed adjustment, and you could stress out the plants. And that leads to smaller harvests and, you guessed it, lost income. This really just lays it all out, right? It's the core trade-off. On one side, you've got the old way, labor-intensive, inconsistent, and frankly, super stressful for both the farmer and the plants. But then on the other side, you see the promise of automation, a system that's efficient, consistent, reliable, and just a whole lot smarter. So the key thing to get here is that these aren't just, minor annoyances. We're talking about serious operational challenges. It's expensive, it's inefficient, and a delayed response to something like a sudden cold snap or a heat wave that can literally ruin an entire crop. And on top of all that, for smaller farms, those super expensive high-tech systems have pretty much always been out of reach. So how do you solve a problem like that? Well, you build an automated brain for the greenhouse. So let's dive into the really elegant solution this project came up with. Okay, so at its core, this is what we're really talking about. It's a system that acts like that perfect, tireless gardener we mentioned. It uses tech to constantly, and I mean constantly, watch over the environment and then automatically make adjustments to keep things, well, just right for the plants. And the goal here, the mission, is really simple but also incredibly powerful. It directly tackles every single problem we just talked about. It's going to save time and labor, protect the crops from all that environmental stress, and create the kind of stable, perfect conditions where plants can just thrive. Okay, so to make all this magic happen, you need a whole team of electronic components working together. The best way to think about it is like a body, right? It needs a brain to make decisions, senses to see and feel the world, and muscles to actually do things. First up, we've got the brain. And in this project, the brain is a powerful little microcontroller, the STM32. This thing is the central command unit. It takes in all the information from the senses, crunches the numbers, and decides exactly what needs to be done. Of course, a brain is pretty useless without senses, right? So, to feel the heat and the humidity, the system uses something called a DHT2 sensor. And to see the light, it uses a light-dependent resistor, or LDR for short. These are basically the eyes and ears of the operation, feeding a constant stream of updates back to the brain. All right, next up, you need the muscles, the parts that actually do the physical work. If it gets too hot, the brain tells a cooling fan to kick on. Too cold, it fires up a ceramic heater. And the key piece that makes this all possible is the relay module. Think of it like an electronic switch or a translator. It lets the tiny, low-power brain control these much bigger, high-power devices safely. And last but not least, the system needs a voice so it can communicate with the farmer. There's an LED display to show the real-time status right there on the spot. If things get critical, a bright red LED and a buzzer give an immediate, loud warning. And maybe coolest of all, a Wi-Fi module sends alerts straight to your phone, so you're always in the loop, even when you're miles away. Okay, so we've met the whole tech team, but how do they all work together? Well, it's all about a continuous, intelligent cycle that just runs and runs, day and night. The whole process is this constant, automated loop. It goes like this. First, it senses the environment. Then, it compares that data to the ideal settings you've programmed in. If something's off, it decides on the right action, and then it activates the right tool for the job, either the fan or the heater. If there's an emergency, it alerts you. And the second that's done, the whole cycle repeats. It just never stops. Now, this isn't just some cool tech demo for a science fair. This is a practical solution with a huge real-world impact. The real innovation here is how all these simple components are pieced together to create something that's not just effective, but also super accessible.
This table really breaks down the why of it all. So you've got that powerful STM32 brain, which means you get super precise control, and that leads to healthier plants. And check this out. The brain has this kind of built-in heartbeat, a timer called SysTick, that makes sure it's always awake and watching. That's why it can respond instantly to any change. Then you've got the smart alerts, which can literally prevent crop loss. And maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, using affordable parts means this kind of advanced automation is finally accessible to the small growers. You know, family farms, organic farms, the ones who need it the most but are often working with the tightest budgets.
So let's zoom out for a second. What does all this mean for the bigger picture? Because this project, it isn't just about one little greenhouse. It's really a glimpse into the future of farming. So let's wrap up with the key takeaways here. What this system provides is a blueprint for low-cost, super efficient greenhouse automation. It seriously reduces the burden on farmers, it gets rid of those costly human errors, and it creates that perfect environment for healthier plants. It's just a fantastic real-world example of how the Internet of Things, or IoT, is changing everything, even an industry as ancient as agriculture. And that brings us to one last really cool question to think about. The system is super smart right now, but it's reactive. It responds to what's happening. But what if it could be predictive? What if we could add AI to it so it could learn a crop's patterns and actually anticipate what it's going to need tomorrow or even next week? That's where this technology is heading. And that, my friends, opens up a whole new universe of possibilities for truly intelligent farming.